In my previous video, I received a few comments asking how much one would need to live in Turkey, so today we'll delve into that topic. The question is intriguing, isn't it? Turkey, a land of diverse cultures, rich history, and stunning landscapes, how much would it cost to call it home? Well, by popular demand, we're going to explore just that. We'll go through housing costs, food expenses, and even the minimum wage. So, how much do you really need to live comfortably in Turkey? Let's break it down. Before we dive into the numbers, let's put Turkey on the map. Nestled between Europe and Asia, Turkey is a fusion of cultures, a crossroads of history and civilizations. It's a place where you can wake up to the call of the muezzin, spend the afternoon exploring Roman ruins, and watch the sunset over the Aegean Sea. The beauty of Turkey is as diverse as its landscape, from the vibrant bazaars of Istanbul to the fairy chimneys of Cappadocia. Now that we know where and what Turkey is, let's get into the cost of living. Housing is one of the biggest expenses anywhere in the world, and Turkey is no exception. In bustling cities like Istanbul, Ankara, or Izmir, you'll find a variety of accommodations. A one-bedroom city center apartment can run you anywhere from $300 to $600 a month. If you're looking for something more spacious, a three-bedroom city center apartment can range from $600 to $1,200 monthly. If you prefer the tranquility and charm of smaller towns, your money will stretch further. A one-bedroom apartment in the town center can cost between $200 and $400 a month, while a three-bedroom apartment can go for $400 to $800. Of course, if you're planning a more permanent stay and contemplating buying a property, the average price per square meter in the city center is around $1,000, but it can be as low as $600 outside the city center. Housing certainly takes a chunk out of the budget, but what about food? Next on our list is the cost of food, an essential part of our daily lives. In Turkey, the cost of food is relatively moderate. For those who love to cook, you'll find that groceries are quite affordable. Produce is fresh, abundant, and low-priced, especially if you shop at local markets. For instance, a dozen eggs cost around $2, while a loaf of bread is about 50 cents. Fresh fruits and vegetables? They're a steal, often less than $1 per kilogram. But what if you're not into cooking? Well, dining out in Turkey is also quite reasonable. A meal at a mid-range restaurant will set you back around $10. And if you're on the run, a delicious street food meal, think kebabs or pide, is just a few dollars. Feeding yourself in Turkey can be quite affordable, but how does this compare to the minimum wage? Now, let's talk about the minimum wage in Turkey. The government sets the minimum wage, and as of this year, it's roughly around $350 American dollars per month. However, this wage varies depending on the industry and the region. For instance, in bustling cities like Istanbul or Ankara, wages might be a bit higher to accommodate the higher cost of living. When we compare this to the housing and food costs we discussed earlier, it's clear that stretching a minimum wage in Turkey can be challenging, particularly in larger cities. However, your individual expenses can vastly differ based on your lifestyle and choices. For example, choosing to share accommodation, shopping at local markets, and using public transportation can significantly cut costs. So there you have it, a comprehensive look at the cost of living in Turkey. Remember, everyone's lifestyle and needs vary, so consider this a starting point for planning your move. Before we wrap up, here are a few do's and don'ts to keep in mind while living in Turkey. Do respect the local customs and traditions and try to learn a few Turkish phrases. Don't refuse a cup of tea, it's a sign of hospitality. Do dress modestly, especially when visiting religious sites. Don't forget to haggle in the bazaars, it's part of the shopping experience. Keep these tips in mind, and you'll navigate life in Turkey like a pro. Until next time, safe travels.